Oh my goodness. Hi guys. Welcome to day 9 of the Sorcery Salon. I cannot believe we're on day 9 already. And so if it was up to me, this would be the place that we would start every day, all day. Serenity. Serenity. What would it be like for you guys to just have serene wealth, serene financial paradigms? Just have it be easy. But here's the thing. Even if we're climbing to Everest Base Camp, we have to do some training, don't we? We actually have to have a profit-making mechanism that works for us, that doesn't burn us out, that doesn't make us like want to rip it apart every week and like go right down to, the brass tacks of it. And I see that over and over again. Like people have anxiety over their work. They have anxiety over their profession. They have anxiety about like even just sort of being in the right profession. And I would say if your business is 3 to 5 years old, you're probably in the right profession. It's just a matter of tweaking that. And if serenity is the game and serenity is what we're aimed at, then that is exactly what you will be able to achieve. And I would say over and over and over again, people look for a problem to solve, and then they go ahead and solve that problem with their clients. But is it the serene route to financial abundance for you? There's so many different ways of making money, you guys. Oh my goodness. And I would say that's the number one thing that people think that they want from me. And I would say I freaking love it. I would say also that I have a level of genius of looking at your charts, of looking at your aura, of looking at the way that you talk, of looking at the way you express yourself, looking at all of the things that you've learned, all of your modalities, and being able to put that into a sequence that allows you to just relax into making money. And I would say the whole world needs to calm the bleep down. We just need to calm down. Like everything is so instantaneous. And I would say, I used to work at McDonald's when I was going to university, and I would work the breakfast shift. And so I'd have to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning, nobody goes through the drive-through, like nobody. But I'll tell you what, when one person is in the drive-through, then everybody wants whatever it is. And so for you to be completely serene in the process of your life, I would say is the number one thing that I would love for you to have, and for you to be able to use your deadly accurate internal compass and to just absolutely know what your big picture is for you for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years, for the next 50 years. It's so interesting. A client of mine was talking, and she has friends, like these are just bosom friends of hers, and they're both just hate their work and they can't wait to retire. And I would say sometimes what happens is, as a professional, as a coach, as a consultant, there are parts of your work that you can't stand. And I would say, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. If there's a way of calibrating the parts of your work so that you love it, then let's go ahead and do that. Super, super important that you do the work that you love. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Wealth loves calm. So if you're anxious, if wealth, the idea of wealth, like too much money coming in makes you anxious, then what can happen is you get rid of it. And maybe you notice that in your life that a bunch of money comes in, 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, like whatever it is, and you blow it. And I would say that is a part of not being serene financially. And who the heck teaches us that? Who teaches us how to be serene financially? Well, I can. So if that's something that you're looking for, absolutely. This is step 9 of 9 as a part of my sorcery salon and the Sorceress of Success, which is my 9-step signature process. And so I really love it that people can come to me who are actually making too much money. I love that. I love it. It's just like first world problems, yes, and making too much money and having too much money. If that isn't your paradigm, if that isn't how you grew up, you will blow it, you guys. And so I know a ton of different ways of taking care of that and making sure that that wealth can grow itself and it's being looked after. And it's so much more than rich dad, poor dad. It's really you at a core level being serene, being sovereign, and then using all the sorcery, you being the source of all of this excess wealth. I still feel like a lot of people are worried that it might be taken away from them, or they might make a mistake and lose it. And so even if you're not quite there yet, making excess money, sometimes this thought that you will fuck it up will stop you from making really great money. And then feeling like a fuck up may stop you from making great money. And that's like the opposite of serenity. But a lot of my clients have their Chiron is in Aries. So if your Chiron is sitting in Aries, it's all about worthiness and worthlessness and having to prove yourself. And I just actually did a whole show last Monday. So if you wanted to check that out, you can go to podcast.jenniferkramerlewis.com and check out that show about your open ego. And it also has the same frequency as Chiron and Aries. And so serenity for those people might be an uphill climb both ways, and it's super worthy discussion. I would say that that's something that's very, very necessary for you to be great at what you do and also receive the money, receive the accolades, receive the wealth, receive the abundance for what it is that you're doing. And so if money comes in and you're spending it more fast than it comes in, it's a really, really good sign that, one, you might have Chiron and Aries. We might have to have a look at that. And then also we might have to have a look at what you're doing with the money when it comes in. And then also we might have to have a look at calibrating that so that it is a consistent overflow for you. Just like every month, you're like, okay, well, I really only need 10,000, but I'm making 20. I really only need 20,000, but I'm making 50. I really only need 20,000, but I'm making 100,000. And I think a lot of people know how to do just-in-time manifestation. And I used to have, like, for years, I had this show called The Audacious Ask. And that was all about making an audacious ask and creating just-in-time manifestations. And that was wild. I freaking loved that. It was so fun. And I would say that that's really something that I hear consistently, is that what I do is I make these concepts, these new ways of being, this new consciousness, this new DNA that you are growing, fun. And what would that be like, you guys? I think that there's so many places and spaces on the planet where it's just not fun. You think about, like, how do I make money? It's not fun. How do I create wealth? It's not fun. And when I do create wealth, this is me pretending to be you, then it flies out the door faster than I can harvest it. And so maybe that's the case. But for me, I would love it for you to be in a flow state. And so creating that flow state requires serenity. So, like, even looking at people's personal lives, like, we all do this. Like, we create chaos and then we really deeply crave serenity. We crave it. And so when you are creating chaos but craving serenity, then the point of view is that some corrections need to get done, but it isn't all about corrections, you guys. Like, oh my goodness, like years ago I did this course and it was called Wealth Blueprint. And so I talk about it because it was so interesting. Like, I didn't think that I had the acumen to be able to teach a course on creating wealth. And it was really, really interesting. Like, I think I had like 21, 22 participants in that course. And together they created over $1 million of unexpected wealth. Like, I had a lady that was living off-grid in a camper or a caravan, depending on, like what you would call it. And she didn't have electricity. She didn't have plumbing. She was just living in a camper. I think she might have had an extension cord, to plug in her phone or whatever. And during the course of that course, over the 6 weeks, she created a 2-bedroom apartment in a town that was very close to where she was living. And then because she had the space, she created a dog walking business and a dog sitting business. And then also she reestablished, hold on just one, sorry about that, you guys, Facebook is threatening to kick me off. I always forget about that. I need to put a checklist on. I get so in flow. So she created a 2-bedroom apartment out of nowhere. She didn't have to pay a damage deposit. She didn't have to pay for her hookups. She was given internet service. She was given her electricity. It came right out of nowhere. And because she had that, because she had a regular address, she was able to pick up a source of income that she had lost because she didn't have a regular address. And so this is what we used to do inside the Audacious Ask, and definitely a lot of the stuff that we will be doing inside the Sorceress of Success is looking at what is available. How do we be calm about our manifestation process? And then also when things are going so well, how do we not get into a place and space of overwhelm with things going too well? And then also what can happen at this point is your identity starts to change. Your DNA starts to change. Your energy starts to change. And then the people around you who are dedicated to you being the old version of you, they might start to act up. And I do see this with my clients where, their partner is more dedicated to being worried about the mortgage balance and more dedicated to being worried about all sorts of things, dedicated to sort of anti-serenity. And so when the client starts to create financial overflows, these financial overflows can start to upset the partnership, start to upset the marriage or the relationship. And then how do we deal with that? How do we go ahead and look after that? And so I did talk about that yesterday. There's a series of now today 9 videos that you could check out if you're thinking about working with me inside of the Sorceress of Success, or maybe you want a reading with me to just sort of like check me out. I will do that as a part of enrollment of the Sorceress of Success. If you're like, no, I need to actually just have one experience with you before I sign up for Sorceress of Success, that's available. I don't generally do one-off readings. I don't find that valuable for me. I'm such a farmer. I grew up on a horse farm, and I want to grow people. I want to grow businesses. I want to grow success and talent. That's what I'm about. So if I wanted to just do like, little readings, human design readings, psychic readings, energy readings, aura readings, space readings, business readings, like all of that stuff is going to happen inside of Sorceress of Success anyways. Like when people ask questions, I can't help but do a reading. But for me, I am way more about networking and the Think and Grow Rich type of like having a a mentorship group with people and helping them grow because I know them. I'm actually not for strangers. So if this is the first time that you've interacted with me, somehow my video made it to you and you haven't seen my face before, it's up to you to familiarize yourself with my content before you reach out and want to have a conversation with me. For sure. Watch a bunch of my videos, watch the other 8 videos, go onto my YouTube, watch all of my shows. I have a podcast called Big Fat Lies that's dedicated to opening your eyes to the big fat lies of this reality that are stopping you from being so happy, so healthy, so wealthy, so switched on and loved. And that's what we're here to be and do, is have an experience in a body, a deeply loving experience, loving having a body. And, you know, one of the really great reasons to have money and to have a business or really express yourself on this planet is to have a deeper experience with love. And if you're freaked out about your finances, you cannot do that. You absolutely cannot do that. That's not possible for you if you're freaked out about your finances. And it is possible to be freaked out about your finances because you're making too much money. Sorry, it's bumping. And, you know, see what the fast track is for you for wealth creation. There's like familial oaths, there's like soul fractal family, there's upgrading your DNA to include wealth overflows instead of needs only inflows. And like, there's a dozen things, you guys. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of things that we could do at this phase. And why is it a 9-step process? Well, I ended up looking at what it was that I would do with a one-on-one client. Like my practice, up until now, I've been in business since 2014. Up until now, my coaching and mentorship practice has been one-on-one. And, you know, with classes, I did do classes, and I used to travel the world teaching these workshops for a company called Access Consciousness. And, you know, that was great. I love the group training. And, you know, at this point in my life, what I'm really advocating for with my clients is freedom, sovereignty, 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 which is the first 3 months with me is all about sovereignty. It's all about freedom, all about noticing the places and spaces where you are locked in to the matrix, locked into the grid. And so for me, I've been going through a process, and this one-on-one type business, you know, for the people that I adore, who are my established clients, that's not going to go away for them until they decide that they want to join Sorceress of Success, which of course they are welcome to do that. But for you, dear listener, what I am dedicated to is for you to have deep, deep freedom. Whatever that looks like. Maybe it's location freedom, and we have to rejig your business so that you can live wherever the hell that you want. And maybe it's time freedom. Maybe you only want to work 3 days a week, and then the rest of the week, like me, you just want to go to dance class, and you want to go hiking, and you want to like cook yummy things, and, you know, hang out with your cool friends, hang out with your family, you know, hang out with your dog. And that, you know, I do some things in the background, like I do a ton of channeling. I do a ton of like source code downloads. Like I write and write and write and write. And so for me, I need time to do that. This is stuff that I do outside of my coaching and training. And so, you know, when I move my coaching and training to a shorter part of my life, what happens is the people that I can serve get a deeper, juicier download from me because I'm not overdoing it. And I would say most of my clients are overdoing it in so many places and spaces in their life. They're just freaking overdoing it. And I don't recommend it. I do not recommend overdoing anything. You know, that is so open ego. That is so Chiron and Aries. That's so prove it, prove it, prove it. And I would love to invite you to a life where prove it, prove it, prove it is not what you do. You're just in flow state, you're receiving, you have financial overflows on a regular basis. You know what to do with those financial overflows so that you can be calm. And you can actually decide to work a 3-day work week and make just as much money, if not more, than you were in a 5-day work week. And some people are like working 7 days a week. Like, ew, who needs to do that? And if you feel like that's you, then we need to have a conversation and rejig your business. Abso-freaking-lutely. So there's a link somewhere if you want to have a conversation with me. This is a no pressure conversation. I actually have to find out whether or not this program will help you succeed in the way that you would like to succeed. And as a part of this conversation, you will get some tips and tricks from me about you in particular. And so you could take those tips and tricks away with you. You can choose to come into the Sorceress of Success program. And by this time next year, you will have gone through all 9 phases of the transformation. And maybe you're an energetic being and you can feel in your heart what you will feel like this time next year after going through that transformation with me. Maybe. But it all starts with a conversation. And so that's my invitation today, is to have a conversation with me. And if this is the first time that you've seen my face, then please go and watch some of my content and see if it feels like I am a match to help you become the sorceress of your success. And if it feels like it, let's go for it. Let's have a talk. Take care, you guys. Ciao.